Tonight, we drift into a story that feels strangely modern and eerily ancient. It is a story about power and what happens when it is shared between two men too bold to yield. One, a king of politics; the other, a sorcerer of science. Donald Trump and Elon Musk. They were allies once, standing shoulder to shoulder like conquerors at the edge of a new empire. But alliances forged in ambition often melt in the heat of ego. So tonight, as the world outside grows quiet, we'll slip gently into a quieter world. A world of betrayal, cloaked in velvet, of egos bigger than nations, and of friendships that, like old castles, crumble from within. But this is not just about 2025. No, this kind of story has played out many times before, in shadowy medieval courts, on parchment scrolls carried by trembling hands, in whispers behind throne-room doors. So, let us turn down the lights, slow our breath, and sink softly into a tale that winds through ancient empires and modern headlines. This is the quiet history of Elon Musk and Donald Trump, and of the kings, mystics, rebels, and fools who came before them.
Our story begins not with conflict, but with curiosity and quiet ambition. It is the year 2016. The world stands on the edge of something new. A businessman, brash and theatrical, has just been elected President of the United States. His name is Donald Trump. He walks onto the global stage like a crowned king from an old fable, cloaked in gold, adored by his followers, feared by his critics. But even kings need counsel. And so, from the shadows of Silicon Valley, steps a figure unlike any other. A man of metal and mathematics, of satellites and dreams, Elon Musk. To many, Musk is an inventor. To others, he is a prophet. He speaks of Mars, of electric futures, of intelligence both artificial and divine. He is a man not of governments, but of systems, code, launchpads, algorithms, solar panels, tunnels in the earth. And yet, he accepts a seat at the table of power. He joins Trump's Economic Advisory Board, whispering ideas to the new leader like a magician at the court of a restless king. In history, there was another such figure, a man named John Dee. In the glittering, dangerous court of Queen Elizabeth I, Dee was more than an advisor. He was a scholar, an astronomer, an alchemist, and a practitioner of the occult. He mapped the stars, he communed with angels, he whispered secrets into the ear of a queen whose enemies circled like wolves. Much like Musk, Dee stood with one foot in science and one foot in something far more mysterious. But both Dee and Musk shared something else, a hunger to shape the world. John Dee dreamed of a British empire connected by knowledge and spirit. Elon Musk dreams of a multi-planetary civilization where corporations launch empires into orbit. And just as Dee placed a symbol on every letter he sent, an enigmatic number, 007, the Queen's eyes only, Musk too builds in code. Symbols, signatures, payloads etched with private meaning and public spectacle. Back in Washington, the alliance seems strong. Trump praises Musk. Musk attends meetings. He stands among oil executives, defense contractors, and Wall Street moguls. But he is different, more distant, less tethered to this earth. And perhaps that is what makes him dangerous. For in every legend, the king's most brilliant advisor is also the one who sees too far and speaks too freely. And as the histories tell us, kings do not always welcome prophecy. By 2017, cracks begin to show. Trump withdraws the U.S. from the Paris Climate Agreement. Musk, who once kept his doubts behind a careful smile, now speaks openly. He resigns from the advisory board, and with that small, quiet act, the winds begin to change. The alchemist walks away from the throne, just as John Dee years ago wandered from the court of Elizabeth, drifting through Europe, through visions, through silence. When the voice of reason becomes the voice of defiance, the story begins to darken. And so the first chapter closes. The crown has been crowned. The alchemist has begun his own quest. But history teaches us that separation is never the end. It is only the beginning. Next, we'll descend into the fallout, where dreams of empires clash and whispers become war cries. It is now 2020. The years have been loud, filled with tweets, with turmoil, and with tension that no advisor could contain. Donald Trump, once the outsider king, now rules the global stage with noise and spectacle. And Elon Musk is no longer simply a name behind machines. He is becoming something else, something harder to define. He builds rockets, launches satellites, takes control of the markets with the casual ease of a man rearranging chess pieces. He makes jokes that move currencies and shares memes that shift nations. It is here, in this strange period of rising fame and falling trust, that Elon Musk begins to drift fully away. He no longer echoes Trump's policies. He criticizes lockdowns, yet flirts with the political left. He hosts Saturday Night Live, but talks about population collapse. He sells flamethrowers, and then quotes ancient Chinese poetry. And somewhere in the middle of it all, he starts to look less like an advisor and more like an emperor in his own right. In another time, in another place, there was a man who followed a similar path. His name was Grigory Rasputin. Rasputin was not a politician. He was not a general. And yet, he held the ear of Tsar Nicholas II, the last emperor of Russia. He was strange, magnetic, feared. He claimed to heal the Tsar's son. He claimed to see the future. And he offered spiritual counsel that some called divine and others called demonic. Like Musk, Rasputin did not belong to the system. He floated above it, untouchable, unpredictable. And, like Musk, his influence was both powerful and dangerous. Back in America, critics began to question Elon Musk's growing reach. His company SpaceX was now launching military satellites. His cars were self-driving. His words were shifting global stock prices, and his Twitter feed was a place of chaos. He was by now more followed than many world leaders. And in Trump's orbit, where there could be only one sun, this was unacceptable. Allies became rivals. Where once Musk stood beside Trump, now he stood against him. He mocked the election conspiracies. He distanced himself from Trump's followers. He spoke of a need for centrism, for truth, for something beyond partisan wars. But just like Rasputin, the public began to turn, not fully against Musk, but no longer fully for him. He had become something murkier. He was both idol and heretic, genius and grifter, savior and showman. And then came the silence. Not total,
Not lasting, but noticeable. For a time, the king and the inventor did not speak. Their feud was forming, not with swords, but with silence, with passive tweets and careful omissions.
But as any historian of royal courts will tell you, silence is never empty. It is often a prelude. And in the shadows of history, Rasputin's end was not kind. Poisoned, shot, drowned. Not by the Tsar, no, but by those who feared his power, by those who believed that he had grown too large, too bold, too free. And perhaps the world looked at Elon Musk with the same question. Has he grown too far from the crown? So now the falling star is still in orbit, but the gravity has shifted. The king watches, the inventor builds, and the court waits.